Chapter 13. That day Jesus went out of the house and was sitting by the sea. A large crowd gathered to him, so he got into a boat and sat down, and the whole crowd was standing on the beach. And he spoke many things to them in parables, saying, Behold, the sower went out to sow, and as he sowed, some seeds fell beside the road, and the birds came and ate them up. Others fell on rocky places where they did not have much soil, and immediately they sprang up, because they had no depth of soil. But when the sun had risen, they were scorched, because they had no root. They withered away. Others fell among the thorns, and the thorns came up and choked them off. And others fell on the good soil and yielded a crop, some 100-fold, some 60, some 30. He who has ears, let him hear. And the disciples came and said to him, Why do you speak to them in parables? Jesus answered them, To you it has been granted to know the mysteries of the kingdom of heaven, but to them it has not been granted. For whoever has, to him more shall be given, and he will have an abundance. But whoever does not have, even what he has shall be taken away from him. Therefore I speak to them in parables, because while seeing they do not see, while hearing they do not hear, nor do they understand. In their case, the prophecy of Isaiah is being filled, which says, You will keep on hearing, but will not understand. You will keep on seeing, but will not perceive. For the heart of the people has become dull. With their ears they scarcely hear, and they have closed their eyes. Otherwise they would see with their eyes, hear with their ears, and understand with their heart, and return, and I will heal them. But blessed are your eyes, because they see, and your ears, because they hear. For I truly say to you that many prophets and righteous men desired to see what you see, and did not see it, and to hear what you hear, and did not hear it. Hear then the parable of the sower. When anyone hears the word of the kingdom, and does not understand it, the evil one comes and snatches away what has been sown in their heart. This is the one on whom the seed was sown beside the road. The one whom seed was sown in rocky places is the man who hears the word and immediately receives it with joy. Yet he has no firm root in himself, but is only temporary. And when affliction or persecution arises because of the word, immediately he falls away. And the one whom seed is sown among the thorns is the man who hears the word, and the worry of the world and the deceitfulness of wealth choke the word, and it becomes unfruitful. And the one whom seed is sown in the good soil is the man who hears the word and understands it, and who indeed bears fruit and brings forth some 100-fold, some 60, and some 30. Jesus presented to them another parable, saying, The kingdom of heaven may be compared to a man who sowed good seed in his field. But while his men were sleeping, his enemy came and sowed tares among the wheat and went away. But when the wheat sprouted and bore grain, then the tares became evident also. The slaves of the landowner came to him and said, Sir, do you not sow good seed in your field? Then how does it have tares? And he said to them, An enemy has done this. The slaves said to them, Do you want us to go and gather them up? But he said, No, for while you're gathering up the tares, you may uproot the wheat with them. Allow both to grow until the harvest, and in the time of harvest I will say to the reapers, First gather up the tares and bind them in bundles to burn them up, but gather the wheat into my barn. He presented another parable to them, saying, The kingdom of heaven is like a mustard seed, which a man took and sowed in his field. And this is smaller than all other seeds, but when it comes to full grown, it's larger than the garden plants, and becomes a full tree so that the birds of the air can come nest in its branches. He spoke another parable to them. The kingdom of heaven is like leaven, which a woman took and hid 3 pecks of flour until it was all leaven. All these things Jesus spoke to the crowds in parables, and he did not speak to them without a parable. This was to fulfill what was spoken through the prophet. I will open my mouth in parables. I will utter things hidden since the foundation of the world. Then he left the crowds and went to the house, and his disciples came to him and said, Explain to us the parable of the tares of the field. And he said, The one who sows the good seed is the Son of Man. And the field is the world. And as for the good seed, these are the sons of the kingdom, and the tares are the sons of the evil one. And the enemy who sowed them is the devil, and the harvest is the end of age, and the reapers are the angels. So just as the tares are gathered up and burned with fire, so shall it be the end of age. The Son of Man will send forth his angels, and they will gather out of his kingdom all stumbling blocks and those who commit lawlessness, and will throw them into the furnace of fire. In that place there will be weeping and gnashing of teeth. Then the righteous will shine forth as the sun in the kingdom of their Father. He who has ears, let them hear. The kingdom of heaven is like a treasure hidden in the field, which a man found and hid again. And from joy over it he goes and sells all that he has and buys the field. Again, the kingdom of heaven is like a merchant seeking fine pearls. And upon finding one pearl of great value, he went and sold all that he had and bought it. Again, the kingdom of heaven is like a dragnet cast into the sea and gathering fish of every kind. And when it was filled, they drew it upon the beach, and they sat down and gathered the good fish into containers, but the bad they threw away. So it will be the end of age. The angels will come forth and take out all the wicked among all of the righteousness, and will throw them into the furnace of fire. And in that place there will be weeping and gnashing of teeth. Have you understood all these things? They said to him, Yes. And Jesus said to them, Therefore every scribe who has become a disciple of the kingdom of heaven is like a head of household, who brings out his treasure things, new and old. When Jesus had finished these parables, he departed from there, and he came to his hometown and began teaching them in the synagogue, so that they were astonished and said, Where did this man get his wisdom and these miraculous powers? Is not this the carpenter's son, and not his mother called Mary, and his brothers James and Joseph, and Simon and Judas, and his sisters, are they not all with us? Where then did this man get all these things? And they took offense at him, but Jesus said to them, A prophet is not without honor except in his hometown and in his own household. And he did not do many miracles because of their unbelief. Chapter 14. At this time Herod the Tetrarch heard the news about Jesus, and he said to his servants, This is John the Baptist. He is risen from the dead, and this is why miraculous powers are at work in him. For when Herod had John arrested, he bound him and put him in prison because of Herodias, the wife of his brother Philip. For John had been saying to him, It is not lawful for you to have her. Although Herod wanted to put him to death, he feared the crowd because of the regarded John as a prophet. But when Herod's birthday came, the daughter of Herodias danced before them and pleased Herod, so much that he promised with an oath to give her whatever she asked. Having been prompted by her mother, she said, Give me here on a platter the head of John the Baptist. Although he was grieved, the king commanded it to be given to him because of his oaths and because of his dinner guest. He sent and had John beheaded in prison, and the head was brought on a platter and given to the girl, and she brought it to her mother. His disciples came and took away the body and buried it, and then they went and reported to Jesus. Now when Jesus heard about John, he withdrew from there a boat into a secluded place by himself. And when the people heard of this, they followed him on foot from the cities. When he went ashore, he saw a large crowd and felt compassion from them and healed their sick. When it was evening, the disciples came and said, This place is desolate, and the hour is already late. So send the crowds away, that they may go into the villages and buy food for themselves. But Jesus said to them, They do not need to go away. You give them something to eat. And they said to him, Here we only have 5 loaves and 2 fish. And he said, Bring them here to me. Ordering the people to sit down on the grass, he took the 5 loaves and 2 fish, and looking up toward heaven, he blessed the food, and breaking the loaves, he gave them to the disciples. And the disciples gave them to the crowds. And they all ate and were satisfied. They picked up what was left over of the broken pieces, 12 full baskets. There were about 5,000 men who ate, besides women and children. Immediately he made the disciples get in the boat and go ahead of him to the other side, while he sent the crowds away. After he had sent the crowds away, he went up on the mountain by himself to pray. And when it was evening, he was there alone. But the boat was already a long distance from the land, battered by waves, for the wind was contrary. And in the fourth watch of the night he came to them walking on sea. And when the disciples saw him walking on the sea, they were terrified and said, "It's a ghost!" And they cried out in fear. But immediately Jesus spoke to them, saying, "Take courage, it is I, do not be afraid." Peter said to him, "Lord, if it's you, command me to come to you on the water." And he said, "Come." And Peter got out of the boat and walked on the water and came toward Jesus. But seeing the wind, he became frightened and began to sink and cried out, "Lord, save me." Immediately Jesus stretched out his hand and took hold of him and said, "You of little faith, why do you doubt?" When they got to the boat, the wind stopped, and those who were on the boat worshipped him, saying, "You are certainly God's Son." And when they had crossed over, they came to the land at Gennesaret. And when the men of the place recognized him, they sent word into all the surrounding district and brought to him all who were sick. And they implored to him that they might just touch the fringe of his cloak, and as many as touched it were cured.